One of the most important tools that agent support can provide for you is the property report. And quite frankly, I would not go on a listing appointment without it. So let's go over that right now. Report from customer service. So I'm going to go over that with you right now because there's a lot of things that people don't understand about this. Obviously, the title companies all have websites you can go to and pull property profiles from. The MLS has Realist. There's all kinds of places you can pull this stuff from. But I'm going to show you some things you really need to pay attention to. These are pro tips I'm showing you right now. So this is one we get from just again off the internet. So what you're looking at right here is a report. Again, it shows you where the parcel number is, owner's name, site address, mailing address, the legal description, sales information, any property characteristics they might have there for you. But here's one thing I want to point out to you, some notations right here. This area where it gives you the owner's name, it only holds 20 some characters. So a lot of times agents will rush out to their listing appointment, they'll get that listing agreement signed, and hopefully it goes into escrow. And then the preliminary title report comes back and it says, oh my gosh, there's 7 owners on this property, and you didn't know that. Remember, it's your fiduciary responsibility to know this stuff. Now, hopefully, those other 7 people want to sell this piece of property, okay? So again, remember, you got to know the full story before you go on the listing appointment. Okay, here's another example. Open deeds of trust. It's another great thing that these websites will show you. They'll show you open deeds of they'll show you some open deeds of trust. So again, here's another example of the information they have on there, and the bedrooms, bath square footage, ownership information. And then it'll give you transaction history. On this particular one, it shows 3 still outstanding loans on the property or deeds of trust. So you're sitting in front of the client and said, client, dear Mr. Seller, it looks like you owe $538,500 on this property. And they're sitting there, wait a second, we paid out that $62,000 deed of trust back there in 2006. Well, I'm looking at it right here, it shows it's still outstanding. So immediately they're all nervous. So remember, every conversation you have is pushing them one step closer or one step further away from you. You have to understand what's going on with this piece of property. Now, when we go to find out, it actually did not, this deed of trust, this 2006 deed of trust was actually paid off. So I want you to understand, these things online, they are free. They're just an outline. That's all they are. They're not meant to be gospel. They're free. What we have here in our office, we pay 10 to 15 grand a month to have access to. We're paying the county to get county records. We're probably like 5 to 7 days behind. And sometimes the computer misses things. So remember, this is all computer generated stuff. And the online property profile will also give you some comparable sales. It'll generate that for you. And the cool thing about this online thing, you can uncheck the ones you don't want and it'll clear them out for you. And then of course we'll throw a map in there for you. And feel free to stop me at any time. If anybody has any questions, feel free to stop me. There's just a few of us on here, so we can have a pretty good open forum here. Okay, so here's the property report from customer service. Okay, this is something you can call into our agent support, and they will get this for you. Gives you the same thing. Gives you right here a lot of times people will call this the cover sheet or statistics page. But again, remember, it's just an outline. So again, gives you ownership information, and it comes in color. We can send this stuff to your office, or we can just email it to you. Here's another sheet that comes from us that does not come with the ones online. This is a tax sheet. What this tells you is, again, points out again who the owners are, and then right here in the middle, that's where it points out their taxes, if they've been paid that particular year. Just that current year taxes, it'll tell you if they've been paid. Also, down here is where it puts in what's paid through the taxes. If there's any bonds, if there's any Melrose, if there's any CFDs that get paid through the taxes. So this is where you can see that stuff. The other thing will pop up here. Has anybody heard of the HERO program? Anyone? Okay, so that's Home Energy Renovation Opportunity. And I'm going to go into that in a minute. That will also show up here, and that's an important thing you guys need to be looking out for. The thing about that, it does not show up on the taxes for 8 months. And what happens to be the home energy renovation opportunity, again, HERO program, that's me purchasing, that's the county going and say, hey, listen, homeowner, we're going to give you a loan. If you want some energy efficient appliances, windows, HVAC, air conditioning, all that sort of thing. And you're going to pay it through your taxes. Okay. So, the funny thing is sometimes people think that stuff is free. Well, it's just paid through the taxes. It's free. It's really not free. It really is a loan they're paying interest on. And here's another thing that you need to know about it. Lenders will not lend on it. So let's say you have Melrose or bonds on the property. A new lender will come in and lend to that subject to what's paid on taxes, but not the HERO program. They look at that as another loan, and they don't want to come in junior to that loan. So that could blow up your deal if there's not enough equity in the home when you're selling that. It has to be paid off. Okay, and remember, it does not show up on your taxes for 6 to 8 for 8 months. Okay. The other thing we'll throw in there, we're going to put in a grant deed. This is the vesting deed. This is the actual document of who owns the property. So right here shows you Yusuf, right here. Yusuf and Claudia own this piece of property right here. Okay. The next thing we'll throw in there is the open deeds of trust, the outstanding loans. Okay. And a lot of times, what do you want to know about the loan? You want to know how much the original loan is for, right? So it usually shows up on the first or second page. Okay, on this one, it was right there, showed up on the second page. There's another loan. This one happens to be posted on the first page. Okay. We will show any notices of default if they're available. If there's a notice of default on the property, we'll show that. Okay, so this is important for everybody to write down right now. I'm going to give you some timelines. This is important. When a notice of default is filed, 90 days after that, they will file a notice of sale. 21 days after that, it will go to auction. Okay, everybody clear on that? I don't want to miss anybody from here. Good, everybody got it? Okay, so this notice of default just shows you how far back they are. Okay, and what as of this date. The other thing we're going to bring into is the notice of sale. Well, if the notice of sale is recorded, that's what we're going to show you also. Now, there's something you have to realize. Okay, we're a non-judicial foreclosure state. We don't need to go to court to foreclose on somebody. There's a lot of states that are judicial foreclosures. So again, those timelines I mentioned are very important. But what happens if they postpone that, which is very common in a state? They could postpone it for any number of reasons. There's a bankruptcies, or they're trying to negotiate something with the lender. And what do you do when they do that? Because they don't have to start the foreclosure process over again. All they have to do, they don't have to record any documents. So how are you going to know? The only way you're going to know is if somebody if you call the trustee hotline there. The trustee will tell you, there'll be a recording on bigger outfits, and sometimes you'll be able to talk to somebody. It'll tell you, okay, you give them the trustee number, and it'll say it's been postponed to such and such a date. And again, that's your fiduciary responsibility to know this. I've had agents in the past when there was a lot of action going on in the market where they're negotiating with the lender trying to do some sort of a short sale, and the property actually went to sale without them knowing, without them paying attention, because they thought they had to start it over again. So what happened was the investor that bought it at the trustee said one of them knocked on the door and said, hey, when are you going to get out of my house? So that's not a good thing. And also with the property report from customer service, we'll give you comparable sales. Now, the comparable sales we run here are all county data. Now, it's not MLS data. We don't have any pendings or anything like that. We're showing you all the sales that have sold that are a public record. So meaning if some agent from down the hill sold it and put it in just in their MLS, we'll have it, okay? They're about 12 days behind on this. And here's another thing you need to know. If we're having appraisal issues, typically we're going to have the computer pick this stuff out. But if you need something special, like the appraiser's not coming in with these with the value I'm looking for, can you see if there's anything else we're missing? A lot of times you just call our agent support and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this many bedrooms, this many bath square footage in this particular area. And sometimes we might come up with something they missed, okay, because we have all public data. And then, of course, we'll throw in a plat map with it. And this can be delivered to your office within a couple hours, or it could be emailed to you within a couple of minutes. And so you don't have to do that. It's one of the things I like to tell people is that you're not paid to do research. I mean, there's some research you do have to do. You're not paid to be busy. You're paid for results. If somebody can do this for you, have us do it for you, because we're trained title people. We know exactly what you're looking for, and we can get it to you in a short period of time. So in case you forget what we got in there, what comes in there in the property report from customer service: property characteristics, taxes, vesting deed, open deed to trust, any outstanding, that's outstanding loans, notice of default, notice of sales, HERE loans, solar lease, if there's leased solar on there, comparable sales, and a map there. Remember, when you guys see any solar stuff, you want to figure out what's going on with that immediately. If it's a HERE program, you're going to want to know that. If it's leased solar, it's not too much of a big deal, but it's good to know what you're running into before you go and take that listing.